The footage you're going to see is from the 2.0 version of Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, but I also really quickly want to touch on something that arose after I updated to 2.1, and this was across Baldur's Gate 1, Siege of Dragonspear, and Baldur's Gate 2. 2.0, I think, was a significant upgrade to 1.3. You got the improved visuals, at least in my opinion. I really enjoyed the sprite outline and the graying backgrounds. The sprites also seem to get a bit cleaner compared to the earlier versions, so I think that was a big plus. But the main issue I saw from 1.3 to 2.0 was that 2.0 introduced some lines on the character models that weren't present prior to that. And I kind of figured that would get fixed in 2.1. But then 2.1 came out, and the lines were still on some of the models. And in addition to that, there was a significant performance hit because I ran the game at 60 frames per second, and 2.0 that was fine. 2.1 it just would randomly bomb from 60 to 30, then back to 60, and then back down to 30. So I'm not sure if that's getting fixed eventually, or if the next patch will break something else. But I felt that was important to point out here because it's kind of that philosophy of if you ship a game that's not finished, right? If there's enough bugs that still need to be fixed before the product goes gold, then what ends up happening when you try to, you know, plug those holes post release is you can fix one thing and break one or two or three other things. So that was kind of what I saw happen here. Now, talking about the core game of Baldur's Gate 2, I hadn't played this since I think 2006. I did try playing it when it originally came out in 2000, and I just thought it moved way too slow. Like I couldn't get much further than I think I did the circus tent, and I got airy, and then I quit playing. And then I came back a few years later to try it with mods, and I still thought the game was too slow. And I think that's really still an issue here. The core story, the arc with Irenicus, I think is good. It's not the best story, I don't think, but it's still a good story. But the real issue is that there's just far too much side questing in Athkatla, which I thought was, that was what Dragon Age 2 had an issue with. You spent all this time in the city, and then occasionally you leave to go do some like main story quests that would actually be somewhat interesting. And then you go back to all this excessive errand boy questing in the city. And Baldur's Gate 2 really suffers from the exact same problem. Like you just spend a lot of time running around doing errands, is what it feels like. And the gameplay, I think, it's better in ways than Baldur's Gate 1 because it's more advanced, right? Baldur's Gate 1 is almost a tutorial for Baldur's Gate 2 gameplay, which is not something you can really pull with modern games, right? Every new game has to be bringing your audience up to speed immediately. So I did appreciate that you need to have that prior knowledge. It's kind of like a loyalist payoff. But at the same time, it almost becomes overly not even complex. You just get bogged down with a bunch of mechanics that weren't present in Baldur's Gate 1. So the big one being buffing, right? Like you do have to rest a lot more frequently in this because you are, at least on core difficulty, which is what I played, you're going through spells a lot faster because of the difficulty of the fights. So you're having to rest a lot more often to replenish your mages and cleric spellbooks. And the problem with that is after every rest, all your buffs wear off. So you have to spend 3 or 4 minutes going back through every character and recasting every single buff. Is buffing enjoyable? Yes, but is buffing every 10 or 15 minutes fun? No, that detracts from the combat. It takes away from, the story that you're trying to get immersed in because you just spend time standing there clicking things, waiting for spells to go off when really nothing else is going on. Shadows of Om. To put a number to that one, I'd say it's a 6 out of 10, which is lower than I gave Siege of Dragonspear. Because while that core story is good, I do think Dragonspear has, it has better gameplay. I think the encounter design is just phenomenal. The story is, up and down, but I do think that game is overall, from start to finish, a better package than Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Om. If you look at Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition as a complete experience, you have to throw in Throne of Ball. I think that would actually drag it down to a 5 or a 4. just because throwing a ball I thought was almost BioWare spinning their wheels on the Baldur's Gate 2. Um, they probably felt, they want to get money, so take care of their bank account, get an expansion out, cash in while they still have an audience. It's just everything about it is like they just didn't know what to do, or they got sick of their property and they just wanted to get it done with. Like the encounters become, instead of feeling as tactical, they become more kind of like Diablo kind of potion chugging battles. Um, and the character progression doesn't feel as significant. So it's not as enjoyable playing that from start to finish as Shadows of Om, just because you don't get as many power gains. You just don't feel like you're getting much stronger. And also, just the story. It's such garbage. It's really just, I played through it because I wanted to see the saga to the end, right? Like I said, I started with Baldur's Gate 1 about a month and a half ago because I wanted to do the whole thing and see how every single entry held up. And I just think if anyone was going to pick one Baldur's Gate game to play, I'd just say go play Dragonspear. Don't even bother importing. Just start a new game. You'll start with the party, go through that, have 40 hours, have fun. Maybe play Baldur's Gate 2. I mean, unfortunately, you do need to side quest quite a bit in that game in order to do the main quest. It does have some level scaling, which I think is odd that Baldur's Gate 2 doesn't really get slammed for this when Oblivion ate quite a bit of crap for it, right? Level scaling kind of takes away that sense of progression, and Baldur's Gate doesn't have it as excessively, but it still has it. If you're interested in nothing but the story, I just say go read a Wikipedia article on it. If you really do want to see the gameplay, I know that it's on sale on GOG right now. They're trying to bundle the original with the enhanced edition, which I think is Beamdog's way of trying to slowly phase out consumer choice, right? Because right now, if you don't want the enhanced edition at all, then you could just buy the original. But now they're going to be forcing them as a package. So if you're interested in the original only, then go get that right now. I would say though that the enhanced edition is worth getting. Just keep it on either 2.0 because then you get the sprite outlines and the rebuilt UI, or roll back to 1.3 if you don't want those because 2.1 just has so many issues. I started getting more bugs with voices as well. And then obviously the frame rate issue I had touched on. So that would be my suggestion. But overall, I would just say play Dragonspear and then go see what else is out there.